What's your main reason for not wanting children? I'm selfish and I'm responsible enough to admit it. I love children. Love being an auntie and spoiling them rotten. Love babysitting. Asterisk love giving them back to their parents when I'm over it. Asterisk can't give them back if they're yours. Edited a typo. I just never wanted the monsieur. Don't need reasons. Just never felt it in my heart to never have the monsieur. There doesn't have to be a reason. I don't want to raise kids. You can choose not to work a desk job or choose not to own a vehicle without a big discussion. But if you choose to not have children, people suddenly get interested in your business. I don't want to. Simple as that. I am quite severely disabled and don't want a child growing up with the same pain I feel on a daily basis. The world's going in a bad direction in the next couple decades. Annoying. You are not wrong. I have a child. I love him. But today he asked me 287 questions. Not an exaggeration. I kept a log of every single question he asked me today, because I was curious just how many he asked in a day. How many of those questions were why? Why do you ask? Why are you asking? Why he asked? Why are you asking? Why I asked? Why he asked? Why do you want to know why I asked? Why you were asking? Why he asked? Why do you want to know why I asked? Why you asked? Why is? Fuck. I lost track. I like my life being mine. The cost. I went to a Vietnamese website and each baby costs over $40,000. Heard Wayfair has them cheaper. I just don't see the appeal. People have different dreams in life. Some want to achieve great things. Some want to help other life. Some want to conquer the planet that has life. Some want to look for undiscovered life. It just happens that the natural biological imperative is to reproduce and make more life, hence the idea is so common. I just don't want to do that. Simple as, amongst other things, I really need peace and quiet, and space to not talk to anyone. I don't think that makes a good parent for small humans. I don't ever want to go through pregnancy. It's terrifying to me. Also, I just don't think I'd be a good parent. I'm still recovering from my own childhood. I shouldn't be responsible for someone else's. Yeah, this whole pregnancy is magical shit is trash. I am currently more than 40 weeks pregnant. The entire thing sucked. The nausea can be fucking debilitating. Everything hurts. My hips will never be right again. My pelvis feels like it is going to be ripped apart. Stretch marks. Heartburn. Food restrictions. Movement restrictions. Breathing gets difficult. Rolling over is a fucking mission. Forget sleeping after month 5 for more than 2 hours or so because your hips hurt or you have to pee. Feeling him move is cool and all. When it doesn't hurt. I chose to do this too. So, yeah, as a mother I can confirm that pregnancy is horrible. My daughter kicked my ribs in and out of socket constantly. I had acid reflux the entire time. I'm a very petite person who for some reason had to fall in love with a giant and carry his huge baby. My left hip is forever fucked. Oh, you also just gotta love getting kicked in the crotch from the inside. 9 months is bullshit. It's 10. I'm scared I can't love someone for so long without getting sick of them. Children are gross. I don't like gross things. I'm surprised how far I had to scroll to find you. My roommates have a kid, a little over 1, and it's so noisy, filthy, doesn't understand the difference between good attention and bad, so he yells and bangs for attention. Like I have anxiety and lil shit number 1 doesn't understand, obviously, and won't fuck off, but I've gotta be relatively nice anyway cause it's a child. It's a zero-tense experience. I never wanted a kid and now I know I never will. I don't want kids because kids are awful. I feel like I'd ruin them. Monsieur, I feel like I'd be an awful mother and make my child grow to resent me. I feel like I would completely fail as small human. Or at the very least my self-hatred would be reflected onto them and they would feel less loved and valued because of my mental illnesses. Main reason? You waste 20 years of your life and waste so much money just for the monsieur. Makes me wonder how parents currently do it. Exactly. Simply not worth it. Oldest of 10 plus siblings. I've changed enough fucking diapers and helped raise enough kids at this point. I'll probably have 2 of them sometime in my 30s, but for now, fuck that, lol. I know a lot of people who don't want kids because they had to basically raise their siblings. I realized I wanted kids for the wrong reasons. It was a check mark on a to-do list and something all my friends were doing that I needed to do too. Not something that I actually wanted to do. I am too selfish to give someone else my undivided attention for 20 plus years of my life back to back. This. Also, money. I want to keep my money. Kids are flipping expensive, but I'd rather keep buying nice stuff for myself. Why give birth to another child when there are already countless suffering in adoption centers? Because it's more special when it's yours, as if it's not obvious. I see this world as a shitty place and would rather not gamble on a new human suffering just because there's a chance it might lead a good life. If I or my future soul will want a kid, it'll go with adoption. I'm afraid I wouldn't raise them well. I'm afraid they'd go through sexual harassment or rape. I'm a perfectionist. What if I did something wrong raising them? I'm afraid I might do the same mistakes my parents did. I don't think money is the problem when you're having a child. The challenge is to make them learn how to be kind and all the good morals. This. Like, what if they turn out to be serial killers? Where do I get a refund? Also this. There was no warning of the no refund policy. I cannot imagine guiding a child through today's everything. Social media, the political landscape, environmental factors. And I've gotten to the point where I just don't have the energy to keep up with a 2-year-old. Too damn expensive. I have too much stuff I want to do for myself, and kids right now would shoot it down. I'm not destroying my dreams for a kid. Not worth it. A. I'm a B. They're fucking annoying. Lots of reasons, but too expensive. The poop, pee, cry, and slobber for a few years. Then you get maybe a few years when they're old enough so somewhat look after themselves and you can do stuff with them. Then they leave. Best to skip phase 1 and hang out with your nieces and nephews once they reach the fun stage. I'm biologically unable to, so I chose not to want what I can't have. It's too much skin in the game. Being alive is a fucking chore I've been saddled with. And I would feel constant guilt bringing another life into this perpetual suffering. I also wouldn't survive my child dying before me. That's not something one can easily overcome. And I don't love living enough to get over that. Can't lose something I don't have. I just have no desire to. Having kids is too much of a hassle, and I would much rather spend my time and money on myself than on a child. Plus, I enjoy the freedom and peaceful quietness that I get from being child-free. The environment is only gonna get worse, TBH. The competition in schools and the workplace as well. Also, children are expensive and it's a little hard to travel the world for months when you have kids around. And I guess kids seem like they could turn out nasty too easily, and I don't really want to deal with that. That's probably about all the reasons. I don't want to be woken up at midnight to a crying baby when I don't know why it's upset. Personally, I don't see how it could make me happy. I'm very insecure about my own body, and I would hate it so much more if I got pregnant and had a child. I never think I'm good enough at anything, so I would kill myself worrying about if I'm a good enough parent. I don't see how dealing with behavior, eating being a hassle, never having time for yourself, a child waking you up early, having someone else to worry about, and having more expenses could possibly make anyone happy. Maybe I will change my mind when I'm older, but I won't even thinking about having a child until I'm fully happy with myself and my mental health has improved. I'd never want to bring an innocent child into this world only for them to become corrupt by the degradation of society, but also cause I'm scared to have any. I can barely look after myself. Can't imagine that would get easier with the addition of offspring. The cost of having a child. Plus I have a lovely host of diseases on both sides of my family that I could potentially pass on to my hypothetical child. Alzheimer's, diabetes, high blood pressure, weight problems, and so on. Plus I don't want my life to be restricted if I want to go on holiday. I don't want to have to wait until school holiday time so my child can come too. Plus then you end up paying double the price, because that's when everyone wants to travel somewhere. If I want to move from one house to another, or hell, from one country to another, I don't want to have to worry about finding a house in the radius of a good school. I also don't want to constantly fret about my child's academic development, getting them into good primary schools. The best one in my city charges something ridiculous like $40,000 per annum for years 1 to 6. Then worrying about getting them into a good university, and so on. I want to be able to live my life freely, to spend my income on fun things like a quick weekend getaway to the wine country, or whatever. I don't want to tie myself down what they turn into, other humans. Family history for disorders like autism, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia. Thankfully all I have is anxiety. But my mental health combined with the thought of having a child that struggles similarly or worse scares me. For the longest time I dreamed of the marriage kids route. But there are a lot of what-ifs that have made me decide it would not be good for me or the child. It's hard enough some days for me to keep my shit together. Adding a child on top of that seems like a not good idea. 18-year subscription for screaming brats. No thanks. Having kids is a bizarre combination of selfish and selfless behavior. You have to give up your autonomy completely. A totally selfless act, right? Except you're doing it in the name of creating a half copy of you in order to maintain the future spreading of your DNA all over the world. I think a lot of people do it just because it's what you're supposed to, and end up dropping the ball and creating deadweight in the world or worse. I think child rearing is only something worth doing if you put in 100%, and I am not prepared to commit to that. If you drop the ball, you may well be making the world shittier because of your selfish whim to clone yourself. The only reason why I would find a own child interesting is because I would like to see how a human being mix WIHT the genes of my partner and myself looks. But once I have seen it, I would be like, yeah, cool. Where can I put it now? Quote, solution: get your sibling to have a kid with your partner's sibling. Life is much more bad than good. Just Google antinatalism. I'm a teacher and I get my fill of kids doing that. I'll pass. I'm undecided, honestly. I kinda really want kids. At the same time, I'm scared shitless of fucking up or raising a good child into this shit show of a world. Like, do I really want to do this to a kid? Yeah, yesterday I was thinking I for sure did ever want a kid, but then today I remembered how adorable kids are and how I've always liked kids. But babysitting for friends or family sounds a lot better than having my own, only to realize I made the wrong choice. Lol. Don't want to share the Xbox. Took care of my parents well into my 20s. They both passed, and the process made me not want to be responsible for another human being for a while. Much as I loved my niece and nephew and want to give them cousins, I was an annoying kid and I don't want to deal with myself. They are loud and smelly, kinda like me, and I already got one of me. They suck. Aside from enjoying my lifestyle as it is, which would basically become non-existent since my hobbies are both expensive and not child-conducive. My real answer is that my mother has suffered with depression her whole life, and so have I, and I can't imagine creating something I love more than anything only to pass, essentially, my family defect onto them and watch them suffer with it for their entire life. I don't want it to have to grow up poor. Number 1, shitty world getting shittier. Number 2, raising children is a rich person's game these days. Number 3, I find comfort in the fact I could drop dead this second and leave no responsibilities to anyone. Motherhood is a trap. If you stay home, you have no income that you could possibly use to regain your independence if your relationship fails. If you keep working, people think you're a bad mother. And no matter what, as the woman, the majority of the housework and child-rearing will be dumped on you. Even if your partner says he'll do his fair share, having kids chains you to the person you have them with. It stifles your dreams for yourself. Every good part of yourself is sucked out for the kids. It's a straight-up snare trap that you can never escape from. From my perspective, thank you so much for watching and have a good day.